next news. Breaking news from the White House.
At 7:37 this morning, Donald Trump blew up the fake narrative with one line in all caps: no tolls, no insurance costs, and no other charges of any kind. That's not a leak and it's not a rumor. That's the President of the United States of America dictating terms to Iran after saying flat out, we're winning by a lot. And while Trump boxed Tehran in, cut off its Strait of Hormuz extortion racket, and pushed oil under $70, fake news and weak Senate Republicans scrambled to kneecap him in the middle of the deal. One side is forcing concessions, the other side is feeding chaos. Watch who chose what. See, this matters for one reason. Every working family feels before breakfast. Prices. You see, Trump crushed the phony Hormuz toll story, kept the shipping lane open free, and crude cracked below 70 for the first time since March 1st. And then he turned around and hammered big oil because the pump still does not match the market. Trump said gas should be at $2.25 right now, and he backed it with a specific 19 million barrels came out yesterday. That's a flood, he said. That's how strength abroad turns into relief at home. Now name the saboteurs. The corporate press pushed troublemaking spin on inspections and tolls. A block of Senate Republicans voted for the Iran Powers Resolution 50-48 right in the middle of negotiations. Tommy Tuberville spelled it out on Fox. He said Trump called people out because Iran watches the Senate floor too. Marco Rubio laid the line from Switzerland: 60 days. Live up to the commitments or Trump has options. You see, that's leverage. The people trying to strip that leverage are not defending peace. They are dragging gasoline, trade, and American power back into the old Obama-Biden surrender model that already failed. And when Trump says gas should be at $2.25, and the cartel still gouges families, I look harder at anything that actually helps at home. I first saw Joe Rogan and Mel Gibson talk about serious health struggles, dramatic turnarounds, and light-based therapies with cellular-level impact. Gibson says it's straight, the stuff works. Then Jonathan Otto introduced us to red light therapy. My wife had constant discomfort and anxiety, and after home use, she started getting real restful sleep, improved recovery, and better energy. Now, these FDA devices, they use red and near-infrared wavelengths for deeper penetration and cellular-level support. NASA-backed research, support circulation, reduce inflammation. They even have PMF mats with full-body coverage and infrared heat for support for recovery and sleep. Go to myredlight.com. Use NNN25 for individual items or NNN30 for bundles. Strength wins at home, too. And here's the part the regime media still can't hide with a chyron. Trump did not just swat down tolls. He said American inspectors can go into Iran with the IAEA. That lands right on the lie machine that we've been torching all week. Trump says Tehran is agreeing in writing, in public, and under supervision. Then the same people who spent years feeding us foreign policy disasters suddenly want to lecture him about the process. Now I'm going to pull up the receipts. And I'm going to show you the split screen between Trump's terms and the panic from the people that he cornered. President Trump on Capitol Hill today says the war is going very well.
The war is going very well. As you know, we're winning by a lot. Iran is making very big concessions. We'll see what happens, but it's been very, very, very powerful. It's going very, very well.
Going very, very well. Fox reports the next pressure point: American inspectors are going into Iran with IAEA to verify the nuclear side.
President Trump says this is a case of Iran agreeing to a deal, putting it in writing, and then in the public saying that it isn't true. President Trump insists that Tehran has agreed to allow those nuclear inspectors into the country, and the UN agency that would oversee that process agrees with him.
Paragraph 8 of this Memorandum of Understanding says explicitly that the nuclear activities that are going to be carried out with regards to the nuclear material facilities and will be supervised by the IAEA.
Iranian officials say any inspections would only come after a final deal is signed and is not a part of the original 60-day memorandum of understanding. But it's not just the inspections at the center of these contradictory statements between the U.S. and Iran. There's also some confusion regarding Israel's ongoing conflict with the Iranian.
So Trump says inspectors are part of the deal even as Tehran starts talking out of both sides of its mouth. Next, Netanyahu makes clear he didn't ask Washington for permission before moving on Iran. Netanyahu admits he did not ask Trump's permission. He says he was guided by the Israeli people and not Washington.
לא שהיתי להם. והובלתי את שאגת, יותר נכון, את עם תל אביב. בחרתי את השם הזה, עם תל אביב.
He says, I did not ask for permission. I simply notified him of our plan. I told Trump we're going to Iran. I did not wait for the rioters against us. He says he was guided by the Israeli people, not Washington, and was ready to fight with our two tails if necessary. So his message was blunt. Israel acted because the threat was real back here at home. Trump says Tehran is suddenly being very nice because it knows the alternative.
All of those factories are opening up soon. It's all jobs. And our job numbers are incredible anyway. I see that oil just broke the $70 number. Who would have thought that was going to happen? And that's during a war. And Iran is being very nice. They're agreeing to everything that I want. And they have to. Otherwise, we just go back and do what we have to do. Thank you very much.
So that's the leverage Trump's talking about. Agree or face the consequences, but while he's squeezing Iran overseas, the Senate just handed the swamp a chance to tie his hands with a war powers vote. U.S. Senate passed the Iran Powers Resolution, an act that blocks military action against Iran unless there's congressional authorization. If Trump strikes Iran again, he would have no way of justifying it under emergency executive power. The midterms are now effectively an election that will decide how much leverage Iran will have over the world. Now, I want to make a point here because I think there was actually a community note on this. I can't see the community note exactly at the moment here. But I think that this vote does not exactly tie his hands. But it's a move that attempts to undercut the commander-in-chief in the middle of a standoff. Meanwhile, the market's reacting fast, oil dropping after Trump's deal-making. Trump Daily Post, our streaming partner, had this to say: oil prices are crashing in the market today, rapidly approaching 60 to 70 per barrel range. Sharp decline comes as global supply increases and demand concerns growing following a recent Trump peace deal. So lower oil is one thing, lower gas prices for working Americans is another. Trump says big oil better stop dragging its feet at the pump. MAGA Voice posting, President Trump just put every oil company on notice to start dropping the prices at the pump much faster. Stop gouging customers. He wrote, the big oil companies are not, on True Social, he said the big oil companies are not dropping their price at the pump commensurate with the sharply lower prices they're paying for oil. Those prices are dropping like a rock. In other words, customers are being gouged. I have instructed the DOJ to immediately start looking into this. Gasoline prices better start going down a lot faster than what I'm seeing. So Trump putting all of the oil companies on notice, and the market numbers back him up. Crude crashes below 70 a barrel for the first time since March. The Kobesi letter, oil crashes below 70. You can see the market. Look at that drop. It just keeps going. $69.94. So oil is falling hard, but drivers are not seeing enough relief. Now Trump says the gouging probe is real from the Oval Office and warns the companies they'll be in big trouble if this keeps up.
It's ExxonMobil, it's Chevron, it's Shell, it's BP, it's a lot of them. The gasoline or the oil prices have come down so much, and we are not seeing anything at the pump by comparison to what it should be. We should be, in my opinion, at $2.25 right now at the pump. And we're higher than that. And we are doing a big investigation on it. Yeah, they're not reducing the prices commensurate with what's happening. Look, we are sending out, think of it, 19 million barrels came out yesterday. That is a flood. That's like a gusher. That's an oil gusher. And they should be much lower, the gasoline prices, which really is what people see more than anything else, but for their car. But the gasoline prices should be much lower at the pump. And the oil companies are possibly gouging. I hope they're not, otherwise they're going to be in big trouble. They're going to be in big trouble. We're not going to play games.
So Trump's not just talking about prices, he's threatening consequences. On Capitol Hill, he's also calling out Republicans who crossed him on Iran.
Can you define that? Can you explain what that was like in there?
Well, it was like a halftime speech from a head coach. President Trump had a lot on his mind. He's got a lot on his mind all over the world. And so we expected a shorter talk, which he gave. Some people said, we'll be in there a couple hours. We weren't. This was a great talk by President Trump. He did call some people out for voting against the War Powers Act yesterday, right in the middle of negotiations, where they had some things worked out, and all of a sudden the Iranians see what's going on and say, what's going on? Your Senate just passed no war against Iran, which for any Republican who voted against that, that is ridiculous. Right in the middle of negotiations, President Trump's exactly right. You do not do that during negotiations. He's trying to save people's lives. He's trying to save the free world. And we got people just nonchalantly voting against President Trump. Not voting against something, but voting against President Trump, simply for the fact that they might not like some of the things he does. But overall, Martha, it was a great talk. One of the best I've heard President Trump give. Very emotional talk. We talked about the country. He talked about, the avenue that we need to take. We're in a very tough time getting ready for an election. The thing that I was excited about is he brought up all the situations to where we can get the Save America Act passed. And everywhere I go, everywhere all Republicans go across this country, and their line, if they don't tell you it's not true, is Save America Act is the number one thing that people want. They want fair elections. We just saw the nonsense in California, and we're seeing the nonsense of these communists taking over our country. And they're not socialists, they are communists. And so President Trump was exactly right. I'm proud of what he did today. He spoke up, he called people out. They had a very good conversation back and forth. But people need to be called out. If you're not going to vote for this country, my God, folks, we are in trouble. And President Trump needs help, and we're not giving him 100% help that he needs.
So you said you talked.
So Tuberville says Trump gave Senate Republicans a halftime speech and named names over the Iran vote. Meanwhile, a new threat report says Tehran may be eyeing Elon Musk-linked assets in the region. Iran is actively considering targeting Elon Musk-linked assets in the Middle East. Fars news agency, a state-aligned media outlet, reported the Starlink infrastructure and SpaceX-connected facilities in countries like Israel, Qatar, Jordan, and the UAE are being reviewed. So that tells you exactly what we're dealing with. Regime still thinking like terrorists while pretending to negotiate. Next, Marco Rubio lays out the 60-day test and reminds Iran Trump still has plenty of options.
Obviously, anytime you enter into a negotiation, it's a process of give and take. This is a temporary measure. It's for 60 days. And as a result, we expect them to live up to the commitments they made in Switzerland. If they don't live up to those commitments, the president has a lot of options at his disposal, including, I'm not saying he's going to do it, I'm saying including reversing these sanctions. They've made very straight up commitments in Switzerland, and the president has been very clear they need to keep those commitments. If they do, we'll keep forward. If not, the president will have options at his disposal for what to do about it. Let's hope they keep those commitments.
So Rubio says the deal is temporary and the clock is ticking on the promises. Now he draws a hard line on the strait. No fees, no tolls, no racket.
Concerns at all that the GCC are planning to meet with Oman and Iran to discuss this new quote-unquote mechanism that the Iranians have floated?
No, I think they'll be against it. I think the whole world will be against any mechanism that charges money to use an international waterway. It's that simple. The president's already said it. That's not going to happen. When we mean open the straits, we mean open the straits free in international waterways. So we'll express that tomorrow. I am certain that not only will every country in the Gulf region be supportive, probably with the exception of Iran, but all the GCC members will be supportive, but the whole world will be supportive. I know of no country on the planet that supports tolling or a fee for the use of the straits. That's not going to happen. The president has been abundantly clear.
So he says the world would reject any attempt. Then Trump gets even more direct, saying any final deal with shipping fees would be dead on arrival.
Would you block a final Iran deal if it included any kind of fees on shipping?
Yeah, no, it would be unacceptable to me, because we have numerous straits, and if you did that for them, you'd have to do it for other people. You have other straits. I wouldn't allow it there either. Yeah, it would be a game changer.
So Trump just made it official. Fees in the strait are unacceptable. Next, he turned his fire on the weak-kneed allies, saying several NATO countries were a letdown while America handled Iran. Mark Rutte in the Oval Office with President Trump today.
Well, let me just say, he's been a friend of mine. He's a great guy, great leader, great Secretary General. Everybody respects him. And I appreciate your nice words, but you really have done a good job. And I think if anybody else were in that position, we wouldn't even be meeting today, to be honest with you, because we were let down. We didn't need help on this at all. We demolished them in literally the first week. But it would have been nice if they would have said, we'd like to help. We didn't even need it, but it would have been nice if they said that. They didn't say it. But as Secretary General, and he's the boss of the whole operation, he was, I believe if I would have called him, and I didn't bother doing that because I was doing individual countries just to take the temperature and see how they were doing. But I think if I would have called him, he probably would have found a way to help if we needed it. I feel, would have been a little bit different. But I was disappointed. I was disappointed with Italy. I was disappointed with the UK. He's now gone. And, he had a lot of problems. But we were disappointed with the UK. We were disappointed with Germany and France. We were disappointed with most of them. Spain is a horror show. Spain is terrible, even from your standpoint. I mean, they don't want to pay anything. They think they're in for a free ride. Spain is not a good group. Not a good group at all. But I have great respect for this man. And so we're going to be discussing what took place. And we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Can I answer to?
So after blasting fair weather allies and for hanging back, Trump moves to shut down the media spin himself in Truth Social posts. He says Iran is seeking no tolls, no insurance costs, and no side payments. Iran has informed the U.S. that despite trouble making fake news reporting to the contrary, there are no tolls, no insurance costs, no other charges of any kind being sought or received by Iran on ships traveling in the Strait. This is false information. Negotiations would end immediately. Additionally, no money has been given to Iran or released from the money to them by the U.S. We will be releasing some of their money that is totally controlled by us to our farmers and ranchers for the purchase of corn, wheat, soybeans, and more. So that is a post from Truth Social. So the post is his answer to the fake news noise, no tolls, no fees, and Rubio backs up next saying Gulf allies and the rest of the world will never accept Iran charging for the Strait.
This new quote-unquote mechanism that the Iranians have floated?
No, I think...
So the moral test hit when 50 senators voted to pass the Iran Powers Resolution in the middle of Trump's negotiations. Tommy Tuberville didn't sugarcoat it. Trump called people out. Good. He should have, because while Donald Trump forced Iran to swallow no tolls, no insurance costs, and no other charges of any kind, a handful of Republicans chose that exact moment to flash division to Tehran. Add the fake toll spin from legacy media and the freeloading posture from the leaders in the UK, Germany, France, and Spain, and the pattern snaps into focus. Donald Trump is carrying the hard part. The cartel is trying to claw back control before the win gets too obvious to deny. So let's just keep the scoreboard simple, all right? Trump says the war is going very well. We're winning by a lot. Iran is agreeing to everything that I want. Rubio says the Strait stays open, free. Oil drops below 70. Trump says gas should be at $2.25 and warns the gougers they're going to be in big trouble. That's not drift. That's command. Now the accountability part. Every Republican who voted to tie Trump's hands during negotiation needs to answer by name. Every outlet that shoved the fake toll story needs to wear that failure in public. Every oil company dragging its feet while crude oil drops like a rock needs the DOJ breathing down its neck. And you shouldn't let any of them hide. So send this to the people still pretending strength and weakness look the same. Drop the names in the comments. I want to know which senator you think sold out the leverage. See, Trump's got the upper hand. The enemy at home just exposed itself again. And I want to make sure that you get the news that you depend on. That's why I set up this telephone number, 844-840-4963. Thousands and thousands of patriots are getting the news that YouTube never sends. When those notifications don't arrive, I will send you the notifications direct to your phone. All you got to do is text raw feed to that number on the screen. What are you waiting for? And are you celebrating yet? I know. It's America 250. It's a big year, big celebration. Make sure you get some America 250 gear from the Next News Network by going to the merch shelf below this video or going to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this. Share this now.